So a lot of people try to improve their life, but it always ends up feeling exhausting. And honestly, I don't think most people are lazy. I think they're making self-improvement way harder than it needs to be. So in this video, I want to show you a few things that have helped me make self-improvement feel a lot more effortless. Self-improvement feels so much better when you stop trying to force motivation on everything it is that you do, and you just start building your life in a way that actually helps you win. Because if you're the kind of person who is always trying to improve, but you feel so overwhelmed, whether it be your job, your life, your hobbies, maybe things are always unorganized, cluttered, then stick around. Because by the end of this video, I want to tell you a few things that have been helping me make self-improvement feel that much more effortless. But there is one catch. You do need to put in the upfront work first. So let's get into it. Now, when I say effortless, I don't mean easy. Self-improvement is never easy. But what I do mean is that it's easier to start, it's easier to repeat, and it's harder to avoid. Now, when you remove distractions and structure your life in a way that helps you be more productive, it almost becomes impossible not to move forward. But you actually have to build that structure. And I can tell you from personal experience that I have reorganized my life so many times before in the past and still didn't follow through because I left distractions there waiting for me. And I'm sure you have too. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to remove as much friction in my life as possible. And I want to share 3 things that are actually helping me get there and hopefully can help you achieve the same thing. And here's the first thing. Stop relying on motivation. I know everybody tells you the exact same thing no matter where you look at, but it's true. Motivation comes and goes, and I'm still figuring that out myself. But what most people don't explain very well is what you're actually supposed to replace it with. And most of the time, the answer is systems. And honestly, I didn't even understand what that meant until recently. A system is basically just a setup to help you do the right thing without having to constantly force yourself. Instead of asking, how do I stay motivated? You start asking yourself, how do I make this easier even when I don't feel like it? The goal is to be someone who needs less motivation to do the things that you actually care about. And that leads into the second point. Reduce friction. I cannot say that enough. Reduce the friction. Most people fail at self-improvement because good habits are just too hard to start and bad habits are way too easy. And every extra step you add between you and a good decision is another opportunity for you to avoid it. And I'll use myself as an example because for the past few years, I've had all this equipment lying around, sitting there, not even using it. Cameras, drones, microphones, batteries, SD cards, you name it. I told myself that it was an investment, that I would get to it, but they all just sat in a corner. They all were hidden somewhere where I couldn't use them. And that's because it actually wasn't set up in a way that was easy for me to use. So recently, I started doing something simple. I took everything out, I organized it, I created places for it in my room, restructured everything. So now when I want to create something, the camera is right here. The setup is ready. The tripod is good to go. My mics, they're right here for me. So the friction is gone. And I've been doing that in other areas of my life as well, like meal prepping my food so I don't have to waste time about what it is that I want to eat, so I don't have to waste money on constantly buying takeout, reorganizing this room in a way that actually makes sense. And if you were to walk in here, you would physically be like, oh my God, like there's no way you're not making money in here. And cleaning my room so that it's so much easier for me to just sit and focus on the task at hand. Creating an actual budget spreadsheet so that I can track my finances, see how much I need minimally to live off of, and hopefully grow wealth and pay off my debt in a much faster and strategical manner. And every extra step that you remove is just going to make consistency that much easier. And a good way to understand friction is actually a very simple example. I read this in some self-development book I've read over the years, completely forgot what it's from, but if you happen to know, by all means, drop a comment, help remind me what it was. I'd love to reread that book again. But think about it this way. Let's say that you want to remove watching TV every night when you get home after work, but your TV is in your bedroom, your remote is right next to your nightstand. So what Or you can use your living room as an example. But when you walk into that room, when you're tired, when you just want to relax, or maybe you want to be productive, but you have the TV right in front of you, it's extremely easy to just sit down, grab the remote, turn it on, and there, you're just wasting your time watching whatever it is you want to watch instead of being actually productive. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you want to watch TV, that's fine. But if you don't, one of the things you can do to remove that bad habit is adding friction to that habit. So for example, the TV is in your bedroom, your remote is in your nightstand. So why don't we move the remote to a completely different room? Now you actually have to stop and make a decision. Do I want to grab my remote so that I can actually watch my TV? That alone is going to stop you from grabbing it most of the time. Let's say you want to take it to the next level, a little extreme. Well, what if I were to take out the batteries and put the batteries in a separate room than the remote? Now, all of a sudden, I've added 2 different steps that I need to do in order for me to watch TV. And if I wanted to replace that bad habit with something that's actually good, maybe I can just add a self-development book or a book that I want to read right there on the nightstand instead. So when you walk into that room, you're thinking to yourself, do I really want to get the remote? Do I really want to put the batteries in there? The book is right there. So it's a lot easier for you to make that decision and be more productive than taking the bad habit because you added friction to that. And it works both ways. You can make bad habits harder to do just as well as you can make the good habits easier for you to do. That leads me to the third thing that I wanted to talk about. You want to aim for repeatable wins. Now, this last thing is something that I struggle with all the time, still to this day. Trying to fix your entire life in one day. So I'm gonna paint a picture. You tell me if this has happened to you before. You wake up, you have a sudden burst of motivation, or you watch a video and all of a sudden you want to fix everything in your life and you start making a list of A to Z of all these things that are going to improve you in everything that it is that you do. And you start tackling that list throughout the day and you get 3, 4, maybe 5 things done. And you start feeling a little tired. You feel like you were productive, but you don't get it all done. And then the next day comes and you just feel so overwhelmed because you didn't get everything that you wanted to get done on that list. Now you have to go to work. Now you have to drop the kids off to school. Now you want to play video games with your friends. Whatever it may be, you get completely distracted. You get completely overwhelmed. And then all these things that you had set out to do now become something on the back of your mind that you never finished. And that's just adding extra stress in your life that you really didn't need. I have done that so many more times than I can count. It's ridiculous. And the thing that's actually worked for me better is focusing on habits that you can genuinely repeat even on the bad days. Recently for me, it's just been going on a walk. Like every day I have been going on for the past 2 weeks, a 45 minute walk. After the walk, usually every other day for the past week, I have added on 100 squats that I can do. These are things that make me feel mentally active, fit. They make me feel better. They add some kind of dopamine, serotonin, whatever it is that chemical is to make me feel happy back into my life, and it feels like I have more control in my life. These walks, I listen to audibles. I'm listening to audibles to get positive content into my mind early on in the day so that I can tackle the day with that much more energy. And then after that, I hop onto my computer, my PC, I open up my Notion template and I start looking at the tasks that I need to complete, reorganizing them into days that I know I can do them if I can't do them specifically today. Nothing crazy, just small actions every day that help me move that needle forward, because consistency will always beat intensity. Again and again, no matter how many times you've heard it, no matter how many times you've done it, it's the truth. Because if you go too hard, too fast, you can burn yourself out, you can injure yourself, and now you set yourself back even further. Progress doesn't need to be dramatic. I'm going to say that again. Progress doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be repeatable. It's happened to myself where I overstretched, or I gained weight and I overworked out because I had a strike of motivation and I ran 5 miles in a day, and all of a sudden the next day my legs hurt, my stomach hurts, my back hurts, I feel way more injured than ever before, and I need to wait like a whole week or 2 weeks to fully recover before I take it one step at a time again and actually move somewhere. And it would have been way better if I had done that at the very start than rather just jump right on in and then completely mess everything up and potentially lose that motivation, lose that inspiration that I just had. So all that to say that self-improvement will always take effort. And there's no way around that. But it doesn't need to be chaotic, and it doesn't need to feel impossible. And if you start removing friction from your life and making good decisions easier to follow through on, things begin to feel a lot more natural. And honestly, that's the goal. Not perfection, just momentum. And I'm still figuring this out myself. But if this helps even one person simplify their life and make things a little bit easier going forward, then it's worth sharing. I hope you enjoyed the content. By all means, drop a like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is you want to do, and stay tuned for more because the videos are only going to get better. Peace.